let's talk about how to talk about commission with buyers. Now, as you know, the rules have changed. Every buyer has to have an agreement with the buyer's agent before they go look at houses. And that buyer's agreement says a couple things. Number one is how you're going to get paid. It says a couple other things like geographic areas, duration, and all that stuff. And we're going to talk about that in a later video. But we're talking about money today. My advice is to keep things simple because buyers aren't really concerned about you and your needs and your commission and all that stuff. Obviously, you want to get paid, but the simplest way to kind of go about it is to say, listen, the industry standard is buyer's agents get whatever. I'm not going to talk about percentages. And now you can also tell them this. The way things have been done in the past and continue to be in today's day is that the seller pays the buyer's agent through the proceeds of the home. So when we write an offer, we're going to ask the seller to pay my buyer's agent commission. Sound good? Most people are going to say, that's great. Now, you're going to get into a spot where they say, well, what if the seller doesn't want to pay? Well, then you have to be honest with them and say, well, then therefore you, Mr. Buyer and Seller, are on the hook to pay me my commission. However, this is the caveat. Most sellers, if not all of them, really don't care at the end of the day. You know what they care about? They care about their net, how much they're walking away with. And if they get an offer on their house that is what they want, and they have to pay a buyer's agent, and they're getting what they want at the end of the day, i.e. their net, then they don't care who gets paid. Most sellers understand that in order for the buyer to buy their house, they have an agent and the agent needs to get paid, and it's all just kind of part of doing business. Now, some people might say, well, if I have to pay you, why don't I just go through the listing agent myself and then it's cheaper for everybody? And here's your answer. You can do that, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. However, when you're negotiating the biggest asset and sale of your lives, it may not be the best idea to have the person who is representing the seller also represent you. And furthermore, that listing agent is going to want to be paid for their services. So it's not like there's a free lunch. The listing agent isn't going to do it for free and represent you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and the seller for the same price that they are representing the seller. It all comes with a cost. You might as well work with somebody who's an expert, knows the market, and is a professional, and can help you for a reasonable price. If they're still hesitant, give them a list of all of the things that buyer's agents do. Talk about fiduciary duty, not getting them sued, knowing all the disclosures, knowing how to read a home inspection, a pest inspection. You are valuable to buyers. You just need to show them and tell them. For more, check out our website.